Welcome to Planning Joy Gardens. Thank you so much for coming back. It is mid-June right now, and I wanted to just take a moment to do a quick garden tour, just a really quick update because I have a lot that needs to be harvested here in the middle of June. Okay, first things first. It is roughly 97 degrees and it's extremely windy. In a matter of 1 week, we have gone from nighttime temperatures in the low 40s to a heat wave with temperatures above 95. So, as you can imagine, my plants are bolting and they're a little stressed. So, let's start off with my containers. So, here I have my green stalk. It's easy to water this. And in all honesty, I have been away from my garden for 2 weeks. However, plants want to live. They want to survive. They want to produce fruit. So I have collected some fruit off the top from my strawberries. The second row, I had some arugula. I have pulled it all because it's bolted. I have some garlic that is struggling here. I also have some tomatoes down here. Okay, and I have my first fruit right here of my Rutgers. I have some flowers. My listens are coming in. I also have some onions down here that I have trimmed. More strawberries. Here is my other determinate tomato, and it is also, let's see, producing its first fruit. Let's get this out of the way. I have more garlic that's struggling. I have some strawberries that are sending runners, and I have started moving my runners into empty pockets where I pulled out the arugula. I also have some rosemary here, and as you can see, my tomatoes got a little struggle going on, and we'll figure out what's going on with those really soon. I do want to interrupt my garden tour just to kind of share my journal. So I have been using my gardener's journal and reference to keep track of when I plant things and when to harvest. But I recently have completed and it is now available on Amazon, my Easy Garden Guide and Journal, where I just give you the facts, things like soil temperature for seed germination, just basic information, how to space your plants, as well as a journal to keep track of everything you're doing. So, if you need some help in the garden, consider picking up one or the other of my journals. Okay, on this second one, this is my leaf tower, and as you can see, it is producing lots of Swiss chard. And my Swiss chard was planted in succession, weeks apart. So I have some that's very mature and some that's very young. I also have some lettuce coming in. My butter crunch, which I've been harvesting on for quite a bit of time, for a couple of weeks, it is starting to bolt. And so I am getting some pest pressure because, as I mentioned, we went from 40-degree nights up to 97 degrees. We're talking more than a 50-degree swing in temperature in less than a week. That's stressful on plants. But you can see that my kale is starting to do its thing. And I do expect all of my leafy greens to recover. Okay, in this container, I have Blue Lake, bush beans here, Cherokee wax beans in the middle, and more Blue Lake. Now, these are supposed to be bush beans, but the growth habit, I mean, they are like wrapping around each other. So I'm hoping that I didn't get mislabeled packages and these are indeed bush beans. And I know I'm having a little sun problem. Now, this planter has failed. The top three tiers did okay. They were able to stay moist, but these bottom ones kept drying out. It's either they're dry or they're waterlogged. So I don't think I'll be using this any longer for strawberries. Now, but potatoes, they have come a long way. So here is my gypsy pink. It is starting to flower, as you can see here, which means that there are tubers developing. But as I mentioned, I had 40-degree nights. which is not ideal for potatoes. And now we're in the mid 90s. Huge temperature swing, but I will continue to water and allow them to recover. Now, I don't think it's a disease, but you let me know. Is this a disease? Or is this bug damage? Or is it frost damage? It's hard to say because there's been such a temperature swing. I have some yellow potatoes, which seem to be doing a lot better, and those good old red Norlands, unaffected by the temperature swings. Now, this is my Yukon Gold. It is in a grow bag. I don't know if it dried out while I was away, but it's not looking so great. My plan was to harvest this at 70 days. Okay. I also have some mint here. This is a lost cause. This is my mustard greens. Oh, the mustard greens are fine. It's just I have a one that bolted. So we'll just go ahead and take this one out. Okay. So it's just a little bug damage. Nothing horrible. Okay. I have another mustard, which is larger, growing with my marigold. Seems that next to the marigold is less pest pressure. Okay, here's my little experiment here. I have rosemary growing in with my celery during the rainy months. I needed to put the celery in to draw water away from the rosemary, and it seemed to have worked. Here I have lettuce, and this is ready to be harvested. And that's part of what I hope to do today is just to do a really big harvest. And if I can keep this tour from being too long, I'll try to film my harvest. And I also have some sage. Now, this is what I really need to get on today. This is a bed of turnips. So I have turnips mixed with mustard, and they are ready to be harvested. So hopefully we can get that done. I have some more onions, and what I need to do is simply to harvest the seeds. And I want to show you the seeds here. Just kind of cut these off and store them to allow the seeds drop out. Okay. I have some more mustards growing in here. Here is my oregano, and it needs to be harvested because I need some oregano. I really don't want it to go to seed. And when it starts to go to seed, that's when the spice is at its peak flavor. So this would be the perfect time because it's just now forming seed heads. Okay, I have some lovely carrots here that I need to harvest. It's been raining, so I wanted to wait for more of a drier day. And with this heat and wind, the soil has dried out enough. So yes, this is a nice size carrot. You can see by its shoulders, it's ready to be harvested. So hopefully we can harvest out some of those. I also have some lettuce. I kind of stuck lettuce everywhere that's ready to be harvested because I don't want it to go to seed. I have an oversized marigold. I also have my cherry tomato that is starting to fruit. And so it's doing well. It probably needs some fertilizer. Okay, and over here is my herbs. So here is my thyme. This one has flowered, and that's the lemon thyme. So it's at peak flavor. I don't want it to flower fully, so I am going to harvest. And this is my English thyme. Also just getting ready to flower. So peak flavor. This is absolutely beautiful. This is my yarrow. And so I want to cut this to make a bouquet to take inside. And the center here is my chives. So I need to carefully cut this down. As you see all those seeds, I do want to collect some chive seeds, but I do not want them to blow across my garden. Okay. And my hibiscus has come up. No flowers yet, but I'm glad to see that it's awake. My roses. Now, I was out of town when it was in full bloom. And so these are the spent ones. I do need to come and cut some of those away, but I do have some beautiful ones right here. You can see that. There's beautiful blooms, and it's all the way around. Okay. I also have my sweet alyssum here in the sun. I have a zinnia, and I have a garlic that's trying to size up. Also have a weed. So there's the garlic there. This one was planted by the squirrels. So there it is. My ferns are doing great. With all the water, they are holding up to this heat. And I do give them a good soak early in the morning. Okay. And finally, let's see if we can get this without my shadow. Finally, gigantic hydrangea blooms. So these are just now starting the blooming process. And you can see the size compared to my hand. Isn't it beautiful? And when it's fully bloomed, they'll be almost dinner plate size. So this is a big, huge statement of color. I have my black eyed Susans here. Okay. And look at those pole beans. Sorry about my shadow once again. Look at those pole beans. So it's at my chin. And I hope I have enough pole to support my pole beans. Over here, I have some bunching onions that are going to seed, and I'm going to cut these heads off. I do not need any more bunching onions. I have here, this is my Marconi pepper, and it's producing flowers and beginning signs of fruit. Shishito pepper here, banana pepper here. That's the shishito, and in shishito fashion, look at all those blooms. So my big goal is to prevent my blossoms from dropping. Here's another Marconi that's just starting to flower, and another shishito. In between, I have some basil. Okay, I think I see some early spots, and it looks like it's trying to flower. So I'm just gonna pick these centers off, and this is a really good example of it trying to flower. You know, the more you prune, the more you get. Okay. All right. Now I am seeing some spots. So I don't know if this is insect damage or the beginnings of milk. Oh, it looks like just plain old dirt, like maybe splashing. Okay. And here, wrapped up in this netting, is my cilantros. Now I'm leaving it wrapped. It has gone to flower. I want coriander seeds. So I have it wrapped in netting in hopes of catching as many seeds as possible. I also want to leave some out so that the pollinators can enjoy it as well. But I want to just show you what I'm going to harvest. When these dry, and each flower will produce this cluster of seeds. I like to do ground coriander. So this has to dry completely and drop its seeds, or I can actually pull the seed heads off once it has dried. Now I want to show you all the little guys that are hanging out. Now I do have some ants here, and I don't know if I can actually pick them up, but I also have some parasitic wasp on this. And so that's why I wanted to leave it exposed so that they can enjoy it and do their work and be attracted to my garden. Okay, and if the ants are here, that means they're not on my peppers and on my basil. They're here on my cilantro. Okay. So that's a really quick overview of what's going on in the garden. I do want to show you my flowers. So those are my beautiful, I think you call them tiger daylilies. I'm not 100% sure of the name, but it's an amazing bright splash of color out in the distance. When I look out my window, I am seeing that bright orange. Okay. I rarely have the opportunity to share this, but I did want to share with you that I do have perennial fruit in my yard. So I'm going to take you over to my mulberry tree. And as you can see, the mulberries are really weighing down the tree and they're in different stages. So some of them are quite ripe, some are on their way, but I will be harvesting pound after pound of mulberries. Now, I did not plant this tree, but I did pamper and nurture it. I do believe it was planted by squirrels. Let's see if we can get you up there. And I would say this tree is probably somewhere between 20 and 30 feet tall. So I will not be able to get anything up high, but there is plenty at my level where I can reach it. This is what my garden looks like. Let's zoom back out. My kitchen garden. And compared to the beginning of the year, you see how much it fills in. So when you plant a garden, sometimes you have to think in terms of what will it look like in the time to come. When you first plant it out, you can't even imagine how full and lush it's going to be. So you see my fully developed hostas, and they are just getting ready to flower. And these will flower purple, and they are wonderful for attracting hummingbirds and other pollinators. Okay, so this is the garden. I'm slowly going around so you can see those are my containers there. Okay. Yes, unfortunately, it is too hot to come out early morning because my garden is in full sun in the morning, and it is now afternoon. And so I have to wait for the shadows to come out and actually work in the garden. Okay, and my garden really needs this shade in the evenings because the evening sun is so intense. So no one likes a long video. So I will divide this up. The next video I will film with me harvesting out my carrots and my turnips. So hopefully you'll come back just so that I can show how much you can grow in a small space. I will be weighing my harvest of carrots and turnips. So thank you so much for joining me in the garden. I'm wishing you all the best as we grow and learn together. Have an amazing day.